If 2020 taught us anything, it was to expect the best, but prepare for the worst, and then prepare for it to get even worse. Today, I'm sharing with you some money tips and knowledge that will hopefully help us have a better handle on what this year throws at us. Now, these are not the standard measurable goals, such as saving a certain amount of money or telling you how to invest or that you should invest. We learned in 2020 that we really don't know what is coming. I wanted to talk about some tips that are going to be good for life, not just for this year. So maybe one day you will see some measurable success based on these tips that you've implemented this year, rather than just a goal you reached this year. Hello, my name is Sarah, and welcome to Sarah Refined. Here we discuss self-development and learning how to live life with intention. This video is part 3 of my 5-part development series, where we are talking about how to bring our best selves into our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial aspects of our lives. If you've ever watched any of my previous videos on money, you probably know that I talk a lot about being aware of money and how you think about money. This is going to be similar to that. The first tip I wanted to share with you was being thankful for the money that you have and understanding that it's just an energy. It's coming and going always. Sometimes it's going to feel like it's going a lot more than it's coming, and that's just life. This year, let's start looking at all the good money did for us in 2020. We might not have had a lot of it, or maybe we did, and that's fantastic. But if you didn't, let's see how it paid for our bills. It gave us food on our tables. Whether our income was staggered as we got on and off of work with no supplement in between, or maybe it was a steady flow of low numbers on an unemployment check. Either way, money did serve us this year. So the very first tip I'm offering here is to be thankful for the money that you have, and not just that, but be thankful for what it's doing for you. If you haven't seen my video on Arigato money, it's right there. So go ahead and check that out right after this video if you'd like. Because if you're curious about this tip, I think you're gonna really like that video. The second money tip I have for you is to, instead of setting a goal to reach, rather ask yourself, what habit will help me reach my goals? Or what habit's going to help me become better with money? If you're currently spending money on, let's say, takeout 4 nights a week, but you're also trying to save for college money or a new car or a down payment, make it a new rule for yourself that you're only ordering out 3 nights a week. Assuming that you weren't going into debt with takeout, I would suggest maybe putting that money into another account. Entitle it down payment, car, college, whatever. So on the night that you would typically get that 4th night of takeout, put that $50 or whatever you would spend into that account. There's no monetary goal looming over your head, and yet you're still sort of building this habit of automatically saving for that goal that you want eventually. I think 2021 is going to be a year of small changes so that we can live a happy and successful life, rather than setting goals and resolutions that are only going to help us have a somewhat successful year. I still think goals are good. Please don't take this video to think that I am kibosing that. I have my goals and everything as well. I just think that this is going to be a year of baby steps as we all kind of take a breather from the last 12 months. The third money tip I have for you today is to create your money rules. Now, this is from a book that I'll link all my books down below, but this is from a book that I love the first half of. It's called I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, and I'm sure the rest of the book is fantastic as well. I have just never gotten around to reading it, but the first half is excellent. I love what he says in this book and online, so if you are trying to be wealthier in the next year, but you don't really know how to do that without setting a budget, he is like the anti-budget guy, which is fantastic, and I highly recommend. So the way that these money rules work is that you decide financial truths for yourself. You're going to take 5 to 10 statements that you have decided are true to you, and then you are going to live by those. Ramit Sethi, for example, he has a money rule that is always fly first class if the flight is over 6 hours. This is what works for him. He flies a lot. I get it. That's not my money rule because it does not apply to my life at all. But that is exactly why it's so important to find your money rules, not just picking up somebody else's. Of course, if you are inspired by somebody else's or you see one of theirs and you think that's actually very relevant to me, go ahead and adopt that and make that your truth. But make sure that it aligns with you. This is just your money rules. So 3 of my money rules are, number 1, when buying clothes, imagine what would you be comfortable paying for this article. And if the price costs more than what was the number in your head, you don't get it. Another one of my money rules is you can always afford a drink with a friend, or an appetizer or a coffee, depending on what your situation is. This is important for me because I think there's always going to be time for friends and you cannot get that back. Sometimes all that means is that you make your own drink at home, or you make your own coffee at home and you take a walk, or you invite a friend over. We can always make more money. We can never get back time. And that is my 3rd money rule. You can always make more money, so stop stressing about it. These are your money rules, so write them accordingly. One of my favorite quotes goes something like, if you can change the situation, then don't worry about it. And if you can't change the situation, then why worry about it? And this is kind of how I think about money. So those are my 3 money tips for this new uncertain year. Life is always changing, and those who can adapt quickly are the ones who are going to survive and persevere. This means that financially you might need to cut investments or change your money rules. So whatever it is that your money rules are, be willing to adapt and change and just work with the growing pains. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, as it really does help my channel. If you don't check out the description box usually, today I'd recommend it because there's going to be a good amount of books in there for finances that I would highly recommend. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell if you have yet to do so. Anyway, I will see you next week as we talk about mental development and mental health. And until then, remember that when you improve yourself, you improve the world. Thank you for watching. Bye!